If you're a diehard Browns fan and love breaking down the game like we do, hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell so you never miss a blitz. Sanders may be gearing up for his first training camp with the Cleveland Browns, but before he even throws a single pass in the NFL, he's already throwing something even more valuable: love, time, and support back into the Cleveland community. On Wednesday, Sanders made a powerful impression far beyond the football field, attending the Garden Valley Fun Fest at the Rainbow Terrace Apartments. This wasn't just a quick photo or charity appearance. Sanders was fully present, fully involved, and fully engaged. The event was organized in response to a devastating explosion and fire that occurred at the apartments just weeks earlier, which tragically left one person dead, injured 5 others, and displaced over 40 residents. Sanders' attendance wasn't a PR move, it was a human one. Wearing a humble smile instead of his college accolades, the rookie quarterback chose community over celebrity. This wasn't about his brand. It was about being a bridge between tragedy and healing. The Rainbow Terrace Apartments tragedy shocked the local Cleveland community when a sudden explosion and fire turned a 44-unit complex into rubble. With damages estimated at $3.5 million, the emotional toll was far more devastating than the monetary loss. Residents were left without homes, grieving loved ones, and trying to pick up the pieces of their disrupted lives. That's where the Garden Valley Fun Fest stepped in, serving not just as an event, but as a lifeline, a chance to reclaim some joy, breathe, and feel like a community again. Enter Sanders, who didn't just attend, but brought with him hope, energy, and a touch of inspiration. The Fun Fest offered everything from food trucks to free haircuts, but Sanders was the real highlight. His mere presence at such a community-driven event spoke volumes about his character and priorities as he begins this new chapter of his football career, grounded in purpose, not just potential. The buzz really began on Tuesday night when Sanders took to Instagram to share a flyer for the event, boldly displaying his personal logo right in the center. He captioned it with a heartfelt message urging all Clevelanders and those in nearby areas to come out and support the Rainbow Terrace community. But Sanders didn't stop at a social media post. He went live on Twitch during the event, giving his fans a glimpse into what it means to be more than just a football player. This wasn't about brand building. It was about bridge building. Twitch viewers saw Sanders in real time, laughing with kids, chatting with residents, and becoming one with the community he now calls home. His digital audience grew, but more importantly, his respect within the city grew even more. When someone as visible as Sanders uses their platform to uplift people rather than promote themselves, it changes the tone of their entire narrative, especially for a young rookie yet to play an NFL down. Despite being surrounded by cameras and an enthusiastic crowd, Sanders managed to keep the spotlight off himself. Yes, fans clamored for pictures, and yes, the media sought interviews, but Sanders made it clear this event wasn't about him. He turned down countless media opportunities to instead spend genuine quality time with the people. He danced, played games, and shared laughs like someone who had lived in the area his whole life. Alongside teammate and Cleveland native Mike Hall Jr., Sanders even joined in on an impromptu football game with the kids, giving them a memory they'll never forget. It was in these little moments, throwing a football in the grass, high-fiving kids, and sharing slices of pizza, that Sanders proved he's not just showing up for the community, but becoming part of it. This wasn't a rookie soaking up admiration, it was a man choosing connection over convenience. When asked by reporters why he prioritized attending the Fun Fest in person, Sanders was direct. He explained that writing a check or posting online is easy, but true community work demands presence. Being there physically, laughing, playing, and listening is how you make real connections. And that's exactly what Sanders believes in: showing up, not just showing off. That's why he didn't come empty-handed. Alongside his time and energy, Sanders brought customized gear, toys, and other items for residents to take home. These weren't just handouts, they were heartfelt gestures from someone who understands that giving goes beyond goods. It includes showing solidarity, empathy, and consistency. Sanders' approach shows maturity well beyond his years and offers a refreshing model for how athletes can authentically impact their communities, not just as figureheads, but as fellow citizens, sharing in both the pain and the joy. It's important to note that Sanders' community involvement in Cleveland didn't begin with this single event. Since the very day he was drafted by the Browns, he made it known that he intended to be a visible, active part of the local landscape. and he's backed that promise with action. From attending school events and youth football camps to working out alongside local high school athletes, Sanders hasn't just dipped his toes in Cleveland's waters. He's dove in headfirst. He understands that leadership isn't limited to locker rooms and practice fields. It stretches into classrooms, neighborhood parks, and apartment complexes still recovering from trauma. Sanders' willingness to consistently engage, especially as a rookie with so much on his plate, sends a clear message: he's not here to rent the city's love, he's here to earn it, invest in it, and help rebuild it. What's most striking about Sanders' presence at events like the Garden Valley Fun Fest is the authenticity. He doesn't act like a celebrity visiting a foreign land. Instead, he blends and listens and learns. You can't fake that kind of connection. People notice. And in a city like Cleveland, where blue-collar pride and community resilience run deep, Sanders' approach resonates. It's not about flashy charity galas or orchestrated press conferences. It's about putting on sneakers, showing up to where people are hurting, and saying, "I'm here with you." That kind of solidarity isn't taught in quarterback meetings or film rooms. It comes from values instilled well before draft night. Sanders seems to understand that being a great quarterback starts with being a great person. And his efforts are already laying the groundwork for something much bigger than football glory. Cleveland is no stranger to heartbreak, on and off the field. But what the city appreciates most is resilience, and Sanders is already showing that he embodies that very spirit. He's not trying to win people over with words, he's doing it with actions. That authenticity is magnetic, and it's building something that stats can't measure. If Sanders brings that same energy, humility, and leadership onto the field during training camp and into the regular season, he won't just be a rookie quarterback. He'll be a cultural force within the Browns organization. Fans crave more than wins, they crave players who understand the soul of the city they represent. And in Sanders, Cleveland may have found someone who gets it in a way that transcends football. The coming weeks will begin to define Shedeur Sanders, the football player. Will he be ready for the speed of the NFL? Can he lead the Browns offense with poise and precision? Those answers are coming. But in the meantime, Sanders has already answered a much more important question. Who is he when the lights are off and the cameras are gone? He's the guy handing out toys to kids who lost everything. He's the one throwing footballs in parking lots with children whose world just crumbled. He's the rookie who walks into a grieving community not with a savior complex, but with open arms. That character, that commitment, is what fans are noticing. If he carries that same spirit onto the field, Sanders won't just be another name on a roster. He'll be part of Cleveland's story, part of its heart, and possibly its future legend. In a sports world often dominated by headlines about contracts, controversies, and career stats, Shedeur Sanders is flipping the script. He's reminding everyone that what happens off the field can matter just as much, if not more, than what happens on it. His story is still in its first chapter, and no one knows for sure how it will play out between the sidelines. But if the rest of his journey mirrors how he's begun in Cleveland, he won't just be known as a quarterback. He'll be known as a leader, a community builder, and a man who chose to invest in people before plays. As training camp begins and the football focus intensifies, let's not forget the groundwork already laid, not in yards or touchdowns, but in compassion, connection, and character. Because that, more than anything, is the true foundation of greatness. Enjoying the content so far? Smash that like button and drop your take in the comments. We want to hear what you think about the Browns this season. Aaron Rodgers leaving the New York Jets and signing with the Cleveland Browns, that's the kind of NFL bombshell that no one could have seen coming. And yet here we are, caught in the whirlwind of what might be one of the most shocking quarterback moves in recent memory. For months, fans in New York were anxiously awaiting Rodgers' return after his Achilles injury in the 2023 season opener. All signs pointed to a dramatic comeback, redemption arc, and perhaps even a shot at the playoffs. But in a twist that has rocked the league, whispers started to grow louder. Rodgers wasn't just unhappy. He was quietly seeking a fresh start. And now, according to reports swirling through NFL circles, the unthinkable has happened. Rodgers, four-time MVP and Super Bowl champion, has turned his back on the Jets and inked a deal with the Cleveland Browns. The same Browns who have been flirting with contention but lacked that legendary proven arm to push them over the edge. Let's be clear, this wasn't a move anyone had on their radar. Rodgers had committed emotionally, mentally, and publicly to the Jets. He was present at games, mentoring Zach Wilson, and doing weekly spots on the Pat McAfee show to talk about his rehab and team morale. Yet sources close to the situation suggest there was mounting tension behind the scenes. Disagreements with the Jets' medical staff, skepticism about the front office's long-term vision, and perhaps most surprisingly, a sense of disillusionment with the media circus that surrounds New York football. Enter the Cleveland Browns, a team historically overlooked, but currently stacked with defensive talent, an aggressive offensive line, and a coach in Kevin Stefanski, who's known for crafting cube-friendly schemes. Rodgers reportedly was drawn to the idea of being the missing piece, the veteran leader on a roster that's been knocking on the door of greatness. And suddenly talks escalated quickly. Cleveland, which has spent the past few seasons searching for stability under center, now appears to have found its solution. The Deshaun Watson era, which began with sky-high hopes, has reportedly ended in silence. No official word yet from Browns management, but multiple insiders are reporting that Watson will either be traded or cut, depending on the financial gymnastics required. The Browns' decision to bring in Rodgers seems to signal a winnow mentality. And let's not ignore the symbolism here: Rodgers joining a perennial underdog franchise trying to rewrite both his own narrative and theirs. He reportedly signed a 2-year deal heavily incentive-based with a front-loaded signing bonus and a mutual option for a 3rd year. This gives Cleveland the flexibility to chase a Super Bowl immediately while also hedging against Rodgers' age and injury history. It's risky, but it's bold. And in the NFL, bold often wins. From Rodgers' perspective, it's a fascinating pivot. Here's a guy who spent nearly 2 decades in Green Bay building a legacy on loyalty and mystique, only to leave for New York in what was supposed to be a final act of greatness. That saga lasted all of 4 snaps. Now he lands in Cleveland, arguably an even less glamorous market than Green Bay, but with a chip on his shoulder and a deep hunger to prove he's still elite. There's a rumor circulating that Rodgers was deeply impressed by a private workout with Amari Cooper and David Njoku, praising their timing and route precision. Insiders say he was also intrigued by the Browns' defensive roster, particularly Myles Garrett, whose dominance gives the team a real shot at controlling games from both ends of the field. All of this seemed to resonate with Rodgers, who's increasingly vocal about legacy over lifestyle. Cleveland offers legacy. And make no mistake, Browns fans are electric right now. Social media is ablaze with speculation, mock-up photos of Rodgers in orange and brown, and fan-made hype videos already circulating like wildfire. For a franchise often defined by heartbreak, missed opportunities, and quarterback instability, this feels like a renaissance moment. Browns Nation has been desperate for a true franchise quarterback since the days of Bernie Kosar, and while Baker Mayfield gave them a taste of postseason action, Rodgers brings undeniable star power and experience. Analysts are already adjusting their AFC North projections, with the Browns now considered a legitimate threat alongside the Ravens and Bengals. Vegas oddsmakers have reportedly slashed Cleveland's Super Bowl odds in half since the rumor broke. The narrative has shifted overnight from long shot to contender. Rodgers brings that kind of gravity. Whether he still has MVP-level magic in him remains to be seen, but the buzz is undeniable. There's also the intriguing subplot of how this impacts the Jets. After all, they built an entire offseason around Rodgers. They changed their offensive scheme, restructured contracts, and even catered to some of Rodgers' preferred personnel decisions. Remember Randall Cobb and Nathaniel Hackett now. With Rodgers gone, the Jets find themselves in disarray once again. Zach Wilson's development was already stalling, and now there's talk of New York going after another veteran or possibly drafting yet another QB next spring. Internally, sources say the front office is shell-shocked and scrambling to control the narrative. There's a belief that Rodgers' sudden departure could fracture the locker room and set the team back years. This isn't just a player leaving. It's the unraveling of an entire strategy. And Rodgers, for his part, hasn't commented publicly yet. But knowing him, a cryptic Instagram post or a McAfee appearance is likely coming soon. Meanwhile, the NFL landscape has been turned upside down. Think about the storylines this creates for the 2025 season. Rodgers facing the Jets in a revenge game, Rodgers versus Burrow versus Lamar Jackson versus Mahomes. If they meet in the playoffs, the narrative potential is insane. Television networks are already reportedly lobbying for Browns primetime slots. Sunday Night Football, Monday Night Football, maybe even the season opener. Rodgers brings ratings, and with the Browns suddenly thrust into the spotlight, the league is expected to capitalize big time. Rodgers in cold weather games and AFC North slugfests battling it out in gritty snow-covered showdowns. It's tailor-made for drama. And for Rodgers, who has always thrived on proving people wrong, this could be his final, most epic act. A shot at redemption glory and maybe, just maybe, a second Super Bowl ring before walking away for good. Of course, some are skeptical. There are those who question whether Rodgers, now 41, can stay healthy for a full season. The Achilles injury was no small matter, and despite the miraculous rehab reports, the NFL is unforgiving. Others question the chemistry fit. Can Rodgers quickly adapt to a new system, a new locker room, a new city with a complicated football history? And how will he handle the scrutiny if things don't go as planned? Cleveland fans are passionate but impatient. They've seen too many false dawns to blindly believe in hype. Rodgers' leadership style, often aloof, cryptic, and highly individualistic, might not mesh with a younger, grind-heavy roster. But the flip side is just as compelling. Maybe Rodgers is exactly what this team needs. A calming, cerebral presence. A tactical genius who thrives under pressure. Maybe both sides need each other. And maybe that's why this whole crazy idea might actually work. Then there's the financial angle. Rodgers' new contract, reportedly worth around $55 million over 2 years with performance-based escalators, reshapes the Browns' salary cap structure. Front office sources say they've restructured deals across the roster to accommodate the cap hit, betting big on immediate success. It's a high-stakes game that could either cement the front office as visionaries or cost them their jobs. Meanwhile, Rodgers' personal brand, long tied to authenticity and rebellion, is now intertwined with the Browns' fate. If he delivers, his legacy gets a Hollywood-style redemption. If not, he risks tarnishing an already polarizing career. The gamble isn't just football, it's existential. Rodgers is risking comfort, legacy, and body for one last run. Cleveland is risking future flexibility and organizational credibility. And yet the buzz is real. The excitement is real. And just maybe the dream is real too. Rodgers in Cleveland. It's no longer just a rumor, it's the story. And now, as the dust settles and the league catches its breath, one thing is certain: this changes everything. Whether it's a masterstroke or a misfire, the decision will echo through the halls of NFL history. The Rodgers era in New York ends not with a bang, but with a quiet exit and a new beginning in Cleveland. Fans, analysts, and players alike will be watching every snap, every throw, every press conference. The expectations are enormous, the pressure unimaginable. But Aaron Rodgers has never been one to follow the script. He's always danced to the beat of his own drum, whether in Green Bay in media appearances or now, possibly, in a Browns jersey. If this truly is the final chapter, it's shaping up to be one of the most unpredictable, captivating, and emotionally charged in NFL memory. So buckle up, folks. The Rodgers to Cleveland saga is just getting started. Thanks for riding with us on another Browns Blitz. If you liked the video, share it with a fellow fan, hit subscribe, and ring that bell so you're always part of the Dawg Pound conversation. Go Browns!